Hello and welcome back to the chicken pen. This is my favourite area of our small holding. But today I'm going to talk to you about making a small holding pay. So join me. Welcome, my name's Fiona. Today we're going to talk about making your small holding pay. We have a very small operation. We grow vegetables and we grow fruit, and we also breed some chickens. Now, there are bills we have to cover. There's electricity. In the UK we've got council tax, and there's obviously the vehicles which we need for transport in such a rural area. So where does that money come from? Now for us, we considered all sorts of possibilities, and we've come up with a solution that works for us, and I'll talk you through that today. I'll also talk to you about some of the opportunities which we decided not to pursue at this stage, and they may work for you. So let's get started. Part of being a smallholder is working out income versus cost. It may be best to work out first of all what your costs are likely to be. If you have rent or mortgage, how much any council tax or land tax is going to be, what you're going to pay in electricity, gas or wood to heat your home, what you're actually going to pay in terms of animal feed. Then you can start having a look at the income opportunities, but don't forget other costs, the luxuries of life. So are you still going to want to go on holiday, or actually is your small holding dream the ongoing 12-month of the year holiday that you're going to have instead? Are you going to have transport costs, and do you still want the newest car? Do you want a big car? Or actually are you happy with second-hand old bangers and just keeping them going on the road until they die on you? So what are your priorities? What's important to you as an individual? Once you understand that cost base, you can then start thinking about how much money do you need to actually bring in to make your place work. This is our vegetable and fruit growing area, well, part of it anyway. We actually live in the middle of a very, very large arable community. As a result, as we've got limited space, we've decided to grow more fruit than veg. We can buy carrots and parsnips and potatoes at incredibly cheap prices from the local farms in our area. But fruit still costs an absolute fortune. So the first thing we do to reduce our bills is to grow raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, and in this bed here covered with the green mesh, this is for currants. Now there are two aspects to it. One is obviously to reduce our bills, but the second one is knowing where our food comes from and to increase the quality of food which is actually going into our bodies. And I think we've done a fairly good job with achieving both. I'm stood outside our fantastic cottage, and I feel really privileged to live here. Before we got here though, we did a lot of reading to get as much information as we could. And we covered a lot of books by a chap called John Seymour. Now, if you've done any reading on smallholding as a subject, you'll already know about John Seymour. He's regarded by many as the grandfather of the smallholder movement. And he published this book, which is one of many, back in 1983 called The Smallholder. But on this subject, the subject we're talking about today, is really relevant. He actually opens it by talking about a smallholder called Jim Light, who has a 35-acre smallholding. And even Jim Light, back in the 50s, 60s and 70s, was having to earn extra income to bring more money into his operation, just to cover the essential bills of the day. Although we're not a commercial operation, we do have some income streams within the smallholding, which just covers the basic costs of growing our own food and raising the chickens. We have 3 streams related to the chickens themselves. The first is the sale of unfertilised eggs at the garden gate, which are sold as eating eggs. The second set comes from fertilised eggs, which we sell to chicken breeders or to people who want to hatch out their own chickens. Finally, we sell point-of-lay Buff Orpington hens, which we hatch ourselves and grow on to a larger size. They go to other smallholders or to people who want this wonderful friendly breed as a pet. This is our garden gate sales area where I sell, amongst other things, eggs for eating. As you can see, I've got a lot of plants on display. I grow plants for the garden and I always manage to grow some excess, and rather than compost them, I'll pop them out front for people to buy. I only sell them for a few pence, but there's always someone who'll find space for them. It doesn't create any real income for the household and only serves to cover the cost for the next year's growing. That might be seeds, it might be plant pots, but it does bring a little bit in. You'll notice in the background as well, I do have some value added hanging baskets. What I do there is when we get to winter and the shops are selling those baskets off at very cheap prices, I'll snap some up and I'll use the excess plants which I've grown to make some up. It means I can sell at a slight premium to create more money for more seeds in the following year. I do work on an honesty box basis, and depending on where you live, this may or may not be a problem. In our rural area, that's never been a problem. People have always paid us. They've never taken things without paying. And actually what we found is they tend to give too much rather than the price we originally quoted. On our property, we're lucky enough to have a barnsteading which incorporates 3 large barns. We have thought about converting this one, which we call for obvious reasons the windowed barn, into holiday let accommodation. If you have an opportunity for an income stream like this on any small holding you're looking for, it would mean you don't need to seek income outside of the property to cover your bills. So it is something worth considering before you select your small holding. For us, we have decided that that's not the right thing for us at this time, but we may do it in the future. We've decided that people we don't know coming onto the property on a regular basis is not something that appeals to us right now, and we'd rather have the small holding that we've worked so hard to achieve just for us. So we've looked at other options. The choice that we made for our income is one which is quite different to most people. We chose to keep our hand in the corporate world, and as you can see, I'm sat here in my business suit and I'm clearly not in the chicken pen, and actually I'm about 120 miles away from the small holding at the moment. On a temporary basis, I've taken a job Monday to Friday in a contract to earn enough money to enable me to have somewhere in the region of about 18 months off work again with the chickens, with my wonderful husband, and growing our own food and enjoying that lifestyle that we've really worked so hard to achieve. Now this, as I've said, doesn't suit everyone, but it does mean that your choices for income aren't only isolated to your small holding. There are other possibilities. There's nothing to say that you can't take a job in the local area around where you live, but if you are in a rural community, those could be actually fairly low paid jobs. If you earned reasonable money before you moved to the small holding, this is a possibility. Take some temporary work, move away from home for a short period of time, stash the cash, and enjoy the fruits of your labour. There are choices for you. I hope you found today useful. If it has been useful, just give us a thumbs up below. If you have any questions or if there's anything more you need us to cover, leave me a comment below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. Subscribe to the channel and click the notifications icon to get notified of any new videos as soon as they're published. I look forward to seeing you next time, and thanks for watching.